Namaskar. Good evening to the viewers of Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation. Once again, we are here in this week to celebrate the 100 years of none other than Bharat Ratna Pandit Ravi Shankar ji to our episode named as Reflections. Friends, before we start this session, we mourn the demise of the one of the greatest stalwarts of the Indian politics and our ex-president, Shri Pranab Mukherjee Dada, who left for the heavenly abode this week. May his soul rest in peace. And also, friends, today I cannot resist myself by reminding you all that today is the birthday of one of the greatest music composer of India, whom we lost at a very young age, Adesh Srivastava. Today is his birthday, and today to talk about the guest who was with us to share his memories, her memories rather, with Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, carrying on the legacy of the greatest musician and dancer who introduced the Indian culture and music to the world, none other than Pandit Uday Shankar ji, daughter-in-law of Pandit Uday Shankar ji, Smt.Tanusree Shankar ji. She got the Sangeet Natak Academy Award, and she was choreographer, dancer, and guru, and moreover, actress also. So, on behalf of Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation, I welcome Srimati Tanusree Shankar.
নমস্কার।
Bodhi, namaskar.
নমস্কার।
How are you, Bodhi? কেমন আছো?
Thank you, ভালো আছি।
And to talk to Tanusree, Srimati Tanusree Shankar, senior most disciple of Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, Gaurav Mazumdar. So I welcome Shri Gaurav Mazumdar.
Nabarun,
Namaskar, Gaurav.
নমস্কার। তনুশ্রী বৌদি, আমার প্রণাম আপনাকে। নমস্কার। How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you. I'm
What a
really
pleasure.
honored to be here.
It's a pleasure. I know we are going to really have a treat going down memory lane, hearing wonderful stories. And let's begin the journey, Bodhi, your journey into the illustrious Shankar family. Your background and then your coming into the Shankar family. Let's begin our journey from there if that's okay with you.
Yeah, it's fine with me. At the very outset, I would really like to thank Nabarun, Gaurav, and of course Chinnama. You know, I think she's done a great initiative she's taken to celebrate 100 years of Kaka, and I feel really honored to be invited on this platform. So I'll first start by saying thank you for inviting me. My background is very strange because basically I come from a doctor's family. My father was a doctor in the army, and I had no uh, dance background whatsoever. But yes, my father loved theater, he loved music. My mother loved music and dance. But I was just passionate about dance. That's the only thing. And even in the army life, at every occasion, as you have in the army, all the children get together. I would be the first one to go and participate in the functions, whether it was Holi or whether it was Diwali or whether it was Durga Puja, anything. Anybody, choreographing a dance, so I'm there. So this has always been, even as a child, I was very much into dancing. I just loved it. I had never had any formal training, but I just loved to move with music. So when my father got posted in Kolkata, he was a great admirer of Uday Shankar and Amala Shankar. And I was very young. I had no clue who they were. And so he said that when if now that I'm in Kolkata, I'll just find out whether they have a school. If you want to learn dancing, I think you need to go to a proper school to learn. And sure enough, there was this advertisement in the papers about the school, and he took the initiative of taking me and to the school and getting the form. Actually, I didn't go with him; he brought the form, and then I got admitted in Uday Shankar India Culture Center in 1969, and that was a journey that started off my dance learning properly, in a disciplined manner, because prior to that I had no training whatsoever. But when I got into the Shankar India Culture Center, that's when I started learning, you know Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, Manipuri, and of course the Uday Shankar style under the tutelage of Srimati Omala Shankar. And my God, what a journey that has been! It's been really a life changing journey, literally, for me.
Absolutely, I can imagine. And was Uday Shankarji part of the training process? Was he teaching?
When I went to the school, he wasn't a part of the process, but the students who were prior to me, they had have they have had the opportunity of getting Baba in one or two of their classes, but I didn't. I got an opportunity of just learning one or two movements from him when I went to meet him. At
Your
his
first meeting? Would love to know how was
yeah.
your first meeting with
Oh my God.
the
It's
Uday
like,
Shankar.
it's very, very difficult to, I'm at a loss of words as to what I should say. You know, I just can't say it was mesmerizing, it was this, it was that. It was something out of this world to meet him, to see a stalwart like him, to be so humble and so down to earth that, you feel, oh my God, he is not a human being, he's not one of us, but if he can be so humble, we are no one, you know
Yes,
yeah. So he
yes.
made you feel that, he really, and it was so genuine, and it's really reflected, and it hit, that vibration came to, at least it came to me very, very strongly.
Wow. And your first meeting with Pandit Ravi Shankarji.
you know Thanks to my husband Anand Shankar. I was just 13 years old when I met Anand, and I had no clue and whatsoever about Indian classical music, because you're such a tender age, and you're more into very frivolous things, nothing serious. But the first time I heard Kaka, I saw him, was when Ananda took me for one of his concerts at Kalpana Shen's house, at the Jahaj Bari on
Yes,
Elgin. Yeah, it was a very, better kind of a program. And that was the first time I was introduced, actually, I should say, to classical music. And what an introduction through Kaka, and since then, every program Anandu made it a point to take me, so that I would start liking classical music, because I had no idea. Sometimes in the initial stage I used to feel, I get bored. So he said, everything has to be acquired. And sure enough, after two, three, four programs, was wanting to go for every function of Kaka's. So that was the first time that I was introduced to classical music, and that was the first time I saw him. And I had yet not spoken to him, but from far, he looked like somebody who was completely elevated, and somebody who was beyond our touch. So something, automatically, a lot, respect comes for that person, not only for his music, but also again the same thing of because of his you know interaction with people, how humble he was, and so down to earth. So all
I'm just thinking, what an opportunity to be introduced to dance by none other than Uday Shankarji and the Uday Shankar India Cultural Center, and to be introduced to the music of any music, Pandit Ravi Shankarji.
absolutely,
I mean, what a beginning! What a
what
beautiful beginning!
absolutely, absolutely,
Uh, it must be amazing. So, 1969, you start learning at the Cultural Center
yes,
in Calcutta,
yes.
and what happened after that?
And I was totally engrossed into learning. And in 1970 January, Anando came back from the US. He was there in the US in Los Angeles for about a year and a half, where he cut his album, and he was staying with Kaka as well over there in Los Angeles at that time. So that was the first time I came to know that my mother-in-law had a son. Otherwise, I knew she only had a daughter. That was Momo, because in the dance school I would see her, but I had no clue that she had a son as well. So the January 70, that was the first time I met Anandu. In the sense, I saw him, because we were all invited to golf club road house, because he had cut an album and he was going to play. So everybody was there. So I had also gone as a student. And then over a period of time, I was very young. I had no my whole thing was about dance. That's it. So when later on, when Anando took a liking to me, and he came and spoke to me about it, of course I was at a very tender age, and you know you see a good-looking man, and everybody's is all the girls are sort of beelining about him. So it was one of those things. So even people thought that it was my infatuation, probably in the initial stage, because a 13-year-old, how serious can she be? But well, it's been more than 47 years now, maybe
Wow.
50, more than 50 years, since then, that I still am the same.
I would love to know, especially for our viewers who are watching, the training at the Uday Shankar India Culture Center. Uh, it must have been so special because you spoke of Kathakali, you spoke of all the. So, was it traditional training and the Uday Shankar style?
Yes.
So, can you take us through the journey of how
Yes.
the training sessions were like?
I will. He actually, um, I think the school in Calcutta, which was Uday Shankar India Culture Center, was a reopening of the school that my father-in-law had in Almora.
Yes,
And he also believed in having the Indian classical forms alongside his
yes,
creativity, his creative style, and his patent style of dance. So
yes,
he brought the best of gurus over there, you know, in Kathakali, Manipuri, in Bharatanatyam, and Baba was there, Alauddin, Ustad Alauddin Khan Sahab for the music. So he had absolute stalwarts there. So when the school was reopened in Kolkata, my mother-in-law kept the same thing of
same
having all the
format.
same concept, had all the classical dance forms, and alongside she would take the class which Baba used to take in Almora, walk to dance, and the typical fabulous style that we have all been enriched with. And Ma, has been a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant guru. I mean, I have yet to come across a teacher like her. Whatever little I'm doing today, whatever little I call it, and thanks to her, whatever little I do. I mean, if the way I teach, the way I perform, what a little bit of aesthetic sense what I have, I owe it to her.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Of course, there are two things here which I want to ask you, Bodhi. One is that I remember speaking to few members of the Uday Shankar Culture Center in Almora that the day would begin with physical exercise, pranayam, yoga, and also if you could take us through in a gist, very short, if possible, when you describe the Uday Shankarji dance style, what does it incorporate? What is it exactly which makes it so different from other dance forms, which is today like a classical art form? Really, Uday Shankarji's style is really an art in itself. It's classical, and it is so much uh, followed all over the world. And
Yes.
he was the one who created it way back. You know, can you please
Yes.
tell us?
I will give you my view, Gaurav, completely
Sure,
what
sure.
my study and what I have understood about the style. You see, Uday Shankar ji was actually basically a painter
Yeah.
first, a magician, and then he became a dancer. He had no formal training in dance, but he was inspired by all the paintings, the beautiful you know, statues and sculptures from the Indian temples and Ajanta, Ellora, Mahabalipuram. So that those were his inspiration. And not having learned, I guess, helped him to be very, very innovative and creative as well as original. Because he told that once when he saw the pose of Nataraj, he felt Nataraj couldn't have just stood up and taken that pose. He must have done something, some kind of a movement to come and take that pose.
Ah, beautiful.
So
Wow.
he, I believe, had danced all night in an attic in Paris when he was absolutely a pauper after he left Anna Pavlova's group after Anna Pavlova passed away. And she was a turning point in his life, and so was Sir William Rothenstein, because having finished his painting course in JJ School of Arts, he was sent to Royal College of Art in London because he was so fantastic, which he again completed. And his teacher, Sir William Rothenstein, was very impressed with him, and he wanted to do further. When he told him that I don't want you to take up Western painting, go to the British Museum. I'll tell the curator, go and see all the beautiful paintings and work of your own country. So that was a turning point for him. And the same thing happened when he was working with Anna Pavlova. So he had choreographed two dances for her. There was this is a story of when he had gone for an audition because she was looking for something different after she returned from India, that she wanted to uh, have some kind of an oriental piece prior to her main program. So she was in this audition, and I believe this story I've heard from Baba, that he was told to go for this audition for Anna Pavlova. So he said, I had no idea what I was going to do. So I wore an achkan, and I tied a tabla baya on my waist with a sari, and I went over there to do the audition, and I was just playing the tabla baya, and I was doing these small movements. I was doing these shoulder movements, the neck movement. I was sitting, I was going up. So there was nothing much I could do because I was playing the tabla, and I think Anna Pavlova saw the spark in him, and that's how I think it just clicked, and that's how he came. He was taken, and he was asked to choreograph two pieces for her, called Radha Krishna and the Hindu Wedding. So while they were touring all over Europe and America, he used to only do these two pieces with her. And then, so she said, so every place that they would go, she would, I believe, audition ballet dancers for her classical pieces that she would do, Swan Lake or whatever. So one day he went and told her that, I just do these two pieces. I can easily do some of the group, in the crowd scenes when you do the Swan Lake and the other pieces. So she said, "You dare not do any of our movements. I want you to understand that your culture is much more rich. So you need to go back and understand that, but you will not take anything from here." So that was another turning point in his life. So that's how I think he was inspired by these people, the paintings, the sculptures, and he created an original form of dance, completely original. And the only time I heard he learned a little bit of Kathakali and became a shishya of Guru Namudripad, because he was going to do this dance called Kartikya, where there's a lot of Kathakali mudras and movements. So that was the only time he learned a little bit of Kathakali. Otherwise, what he used to do was completely his creation, his original creation. Um, which like walk to dance was one of his main things, where I believe he thought, that's what I heard from Ma, that if you can walk, you can dance, because you have a built-in rhythm within you. And I think he sort of nurtured the students from that walk, and how he would create a complete dance movement phrase from that walk was amazing, which we were very lucky to do under Ma's tutelage. So his style was very, very, very original, very, very, very Indian, but he never took from anywhere. Whatever he created was his own thought, his own way of thinking. So that's why I think uh, that's why I would say he was a genius.
Absolutely,
Today,
absolutely.
today, whatever we are trying to, at least what I'm trying to teach, I try and analyze his movements, and we've created a grammar, because those movements without a grammar will not survive. So we looked and looked at all his dance and movements, and a grammar was created so that we could give it to the next generation on the style.
All the years I spent with Guruji, it was amazing to see the amount of respect and awe he had for Uday Shankar ji. And he always called him his guru, first guru. And I mean, he was so much in love with his dada all the time. It really moved me every time I saw Guruji speak about Uday Shankar ji. So, Tanusree Bodhi, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. So
It,
let's go on this journey. 2020 is Pandit Ravi Shankar ji's centenary,
yes.
and we have such memories. You have such memories of seeing him. You have memories of seeing him with Anandada. You have memories, I'm sure, seeing him with Amula Jetima. I'm sure you have memories seeing him with Uday Shankar ji, and so much more, which we maybe we don't even know. Let's go on a journey where you take us on all these experiences of yours and uh, share with us your memories.
Well, there's so many, so many, so many wonderful memories. You really have to juggle as to where to start from.
Let's
But
start. Yeah.
yeah, I will actually start from the time when we got married, and
Oh, which year was
during
that?
our wedding,
Just to put things in perspective, which year was that?
1974,
Four. Okay. So
and
Guruji was 54.
yes, and he was full of life,
Oh,
and absolutely.
his prime.
It was just during, it was in my wedding that majority of the Shankar family were present, except for one or two. Everybody was.
Tell us about all of them. Who all were there?
Everyone except Vijidi wasn't there. Vijidi was in London, and
Ah,
another person who was not there. Vijidi was not there, and oh yeah, Monjudi was not there.
Monjudi.
Orunda's sister, yeah.
She
These
must be
were,
in Allahabad that time, maybe.
yes, she was in Allahabad. For some reason, she couldn't come. These were the
Okay.
only two people who couldn't come. Otherwise, everyone was there. Everyone was
I have to see the album one day.
there. Yes, you must. It's very, very
Oh my God.
nostalgic. Very
Can you
nostalgic.
believe? Can you believe a Bashor Ghar of a wedding like that?
I know.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
believe I wasn't present. I wasn't present, but I believe they had a great time of Guy Holud of Anandos in Golf Clubhouse because
Oh
I
my.
wasn't there. But I believe they had a many absolutely fun
Oh,
Guy Holud over there. So with all the with Krishna Kakima there and Lokhi Kakima, everyone was there. So it was
Devendra Shankar, Rajendra Shankar,
all
Uday
of them,
Shankar ji, Guruji.
all of them.
Oh, how beautiful! How beautiful!
So
What
I
a
was
what a
very happy to get the blessings of all of them. I must say, over a period of time, I was too young. I was 17 years old. I never realized that this what a historical get together my wedding was. And now, when I look back, I said, "Oh my God, I've had the blessings of such wonderful people. Is amazing,
yeah, amazing people.
amazing
So,
people."
so that was maybe. I mean, wedding. Of course, you must have been in a very different mindset, and your usual. But when was the first time you really started to know Guruji? Started to talk to
I
him and get to know
I
him, and
used to be a very shy person. I
yes,
wouldn't talk much, but I remember every time he would come, we would go to meet him, either at Lala Sridharji's house or
in
at
Bali.
Kalpanaji's house, or Kalpanaji's house. So that time, he used to always ask me about my background and how I was coping, coming from such a disciplined family of army life to this bohemian and family of Shankars, where everybody was mad. So, all these kind of things, পাগলদের মাঝখানে কিরকম লাগছে, he would ask me. So, I was very conscious. I didn't know how to react. At the end of the day, he was my Shoshun Moshai. So,
Correct.
Anandu used to have a laugh because I used to blush and become quiet and I used to just smile, didn't know what to say. But of course, a few years later, started also telling him and talking to him. But there were certain um, occasions, I would say, that are very, very memorable for me. One was when we were working together, Kaka, Anandu, and myself for Asiad in
Ah,
1982.
yeah, would love to know that. What a
That time, that time we were staying in Ashoka Hotel, all of us.
yes,
So he
yes.
was in a suite and we were in another room. Every time he would pick up the phone and say, "Hey, ki korchish tora? Chole aaye." It was like that. So, and that was a great time we had. And one day I have to tell you this story. And I mean, my husband almost, collapsed. One day he called both of us. He said, "Can you just come over? Tora ekটু আমার ঘরে তো আয় তো." So we both went. So there was Pandit Narendra Sharmaji who had written this lyrics for Swagatam,
Ah,
Swagatam, Shubha Swagatam, and of course, what's his name? The singer
Ashit Desai.
Ashit Desai was there. Okay, so we walked in, and he said, and he was playing. He was creating the melody, and Panditji was sitting and writing and all that. So suddenly he calls me, "Tanusree, can I shoot?" So I went. He made me sit down next to Ashitji. Okay. Then he was playing the first line of the tune, swag music, and he said, "Gao to." I looked here and there, and I just sang, the way he asked me to do it. And then he said, Asit, iske saath tum ye gala laga ke iske saath ye aise karke gao. So he sang, then I sang. And Anand was almost staring at me. Tomar ki sahosh, you sang in front of Kaka. I said, probably because I can't sing. I said, kya hoga? Maximum, I'll be out of tune. So Kaka will make me stop. He never made me stop. But later on, I believe he told Anand, ek to bota kintu shure gaye. So after that, once I got conscious of that, I said, never again. I'm going to take this risk.
I wish Anandada had a mobile phone then.
Oh my God, he came to the room. He said,
He should have
তোমার
recorded
মাথা
that.
তোমার মাথা খারাপ হয়ে গেছে. You sang in front. Thank God you were on tune. I said, he told me to sing. How can I say, no, kaka gaibo na, I can't say that.
Correct,
I have
correct.
to, So that was one, I mean, very scary memory for me right now. It's very, very scary. But at that time, I was absolutely cool. He told me to sing, and I sang. It's okay, And thank God didn't have that realization at that time. That was the first time we worked together. And I remember when we used to rehearse in the evenings, we did the piece called Welcome to Apu. It was a 12 minutes piece. So he would say, Tumra choreograph kori, tumi ready hoye thako, bikil bela in the evening, I'll come and see the rehearsal. So every time we were staying at the youth hostel in Delhi, they had a big hall, so we used to rehearse there. So he came there and he used to come and he would say, that showed that he was a dancer first. He would say, why don't you put this kind of a movement here? And it was amazing the way he came out with little ideas, and it really changed a lot of the look. So then I realized that that innately he was a dancer first and then a musician later. So that was a fabulous experience for me working with him, because I never worked with him earlier, and that was one of the
So
very,
he
very
he composed the music for that 12-minute
yes,
piece.
yes.
Beautiful. I hope you have it. I would love to listen to it someday.
Yes, it's there. I mean, it's played. In fact, when there was this 50 years of Asian Games in Delhi, we again performed that because
Is it on YouTube by any chance?
I don't know, Gaurav. I don't know. I really
I would
wouldn't
love
know.
to listen to it.
Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
beautiful piece. And I remember, my daughter was about just 2.5, 3 years old, 2.5, 3 years, something. And she would do all the dances, whatever used to happen with the music. She knew it all by heart.
Oh
So
my
at times, we were rehearsing, and she would just get off and dance on her own. And I would see that Kaka is watching her and not our rehearsal. I said, কাকা একটু দেখবেন আমাদের একটু ঠিক হচ্ছে কিনা হ্যাঁ তোমার মেয়েটা এত ভালো নাচছে ওকে আগে দেখিনি she was a
Okay.
little girl at that time.
Yeah.
So that was a very, very enriching experience. Very, very enriching for me. And then another very memorable, I would say again, is when he was once he had come to Calcutta to play, and he was staying at the Grand Hotel, and he called us and he said that tomorrow কালকে একজনকে তোমাদের বাড়িতে খাওয়াতে নিয়ে আসবো। তো আমি বললাম যে হ্যাঁ নিশ্চয়ই আসুন কাকা, ভেজিটেরিয়ান না নন ভেজিটেরিয়ান? বললেন না ভেজিটেরিয়ান, কিন্তু সবকিছুর মধ্যে না একটু 5 ফোড়ন দিও। ওকে, so I didn't know what was happening. So later on he called me, he said, no, I'm bringing George Harrison to your house for dinner. He's a vegetarian and he loves pachporon, so try and get 2 or 3 dishes with that. I said, okay, thank you. I was absolutely shaky. I told Anandu, oh my God, what to cook, what to make, for. So but it was a great evening, absolutely fantastic evening. I mean, they ate and they were, it was just Kaka, George Harrison, and there was another gentleman with Mr. Harrison, and just few of us. And that evening is again a very, very, very memorable one for me as well as it was for Anando. And so that was, the faith that Kaka had that he could bring George Harrison to our house was a
Ah,
big thing for both of us.
sure, 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 sure.
That and another one. I can go on and on and on and on and on. And I'll tell
Please
you.
do. Please
Uh,
do.
all our visits, when he bought this house in Varanasi, Himangana,
Oh,
yeah.
Vandana.
So the first time when he bought it, and then it till then it had not expanded so much. So we had gone to Varanasi, I think, for a show, or we were visiting Anand's Guruji or something. So we went to Himangana, and he showed us. This is how we're going to do, and this is the first. This is going to be my puja room, and this is going to be this. We're going to have this over here, this over there. So that was the first time I went to Himangana. Then we went again for when they had a Griha Pravesh kind of a thing, a puja actually they had. So that time again we went. And the other two times that I went was very memorable. One was when he was 60, Shashtabda Purti. He had in
1980.
yes. And myself and my mother-in-law, just the two of us had gone. And what a beautiful experience. There were priests had come and there was chanting, and it was absolutely, um, you know, completely out of this world. It was heavenly, I would say.
Yes.
And yeah, very good experience that one was. And the other one was we had once gone on a holiday because he told, why don't you all come over? Myself, Anandu, and another couple, Bharat and his wife Sunita. So four of us had gone to Varanasi. Kaka said, come and spend, some time. So Kaka and Shorshati Mashima was there, and the four of us. So everything from waking up, what will you eat for breakfast? The moment we finish in the 11 o'clock, let's have some kochuri and all that. Again at lunchtime, what will you eat? Again in the dinner. So we were only eating and eating and eating all the time. Today, let's go and have this. Let's go and have that. Today, I bought tickets for this film. We'll go and see Holege Dekbo. This is a horrible Hindi film. I don't even remember the name of the film in a most tottering hall. Nobody was there in the hall. The film was so bad. It was just the six of us sitting, and he would buy everything that was passing by, every food, popcorn, ice cream, this, and I mean, he wouldn't let any one of them pass. So Anand said, Kaka, don't have, you'll fall ill. He said, no, 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 I'll just taste it. Tora kha, and he put up his, because there was no one in the hall, he put up his feet on the chair in front.
Yeah.
Some kind of a song going on, so he whistled. He said, "Yo, dekh lo na to dekhish." You know, he was in his elements absolutely, because that was a different person. For me, it was such an eye opener because I've always seen him on stage, very prim and proper, like a different image. And here he was so much like what we would do in an occasion like this. So I remember that visit was fantastic. And then one afternoon, Manikda and Shomitu Chatterji, and the whole crew and cast members of Shonar Killa, because they were all shooting.
They were shooting.
Yes, so Kaka invited them to the house for lunch. So we were also there. So that was an amazing, visit. And I remember, in the morning after having bath, he would do his riyaz in the puja room. That was his puja. And he would call
Upstairs.
all four of us, sit down. And he would make us sing, chant, on Shiva, on this, and it was so beautiful. I can't tell you. Those are some certain days which I'll never ever be able to forget because it
যদি
meant.
আমি সত্যি মানে বাংলায় বলি, এটা বাংলাতে বললে কি ভালো এক্সপিরিয়েন্স। I mean, him being on the top of the world in his profession, whatever, but heart of hearts, he was such a homely man
He
who
was a
loved.
child.
Ah, It is just so amazing, so amazing.
Amazing.
And I can imagine the time you must have had with him, planning lunch, going to this movie, and having all those popcorn. And I'm sure, which I want to hear from you, when you saw him watching this, whatever that movie was, must be a.
One minute.
You must
Listen, I
have
was
thought,
this is a horrible one.
is this the same man who played this
Can you imagine?
epic Anandi Kalyan in your home?
Can you imagine? I mean,
Tell us
unbelievable.
about that incident. I have heard so much about that Anandi Kalyan and that
Yeah.
recital at your home. Was it for Griha Pravesh or Mishti's
Both.
Mukhat?
Actually, it was planned for the Griha Pravesh because when we built this house, when Ananda built the
This
hall,
is in Baliganj, your home.
yeah, in Palm Avenue, very close to Lala Sridharji's house.
Yes.
So he had told Kaka, "Je Kaka, ami ekta hall baniyechi, and I want to inaugurate that hall. If you can play over there." He said, "Ha, just tell me, I'll play." So I was pregnant at that time. So amake, whenever he used to see me, he said that, "See, I'll be playing on the 26th of December. You jolly well be okay till then." I said, "No, no, no. My date is in January 29th, January 9th. So I'll be fine. I'll be fine."
I'll be okay.
So sure enough, my daughter was born on 25th. I wasn't there for the function, and I believe that was a historical function in our house where, just name it, all the stalwart musicians were here, all the film fraternity from Manikda to Rinalda to Shomitra to Robi Ghosh, just name it, Boshun Chaudhary, Girija Devi. I mean, VG Jog. I can't even tell you who all were there. We have this whole collection of photographs of Kaka playing. So when my daughter was born, he came to see me in the nursing home, and he had told Anand, "Don't announce. I will announce when I'm playing on the 26th." And so we didn't know he's going to play Anandi Kalyan. So he played, and before he started, then he said that আজকে আমি একটা খুব সুখবর দেব যে আনন্দ আর তনুশ্রীর একটা ফুটফুটে মেয়ে হয়েছে। So সেই আনন্দেতে আমি আনন্দি কালিয়ান বাজাবো। And he recorded that and he gave it to me because I wasn't there.
Oh,
So
how
he-
sweet. That's typical Guruji. That's typical him. You know, that personal in everything there'll be a personal touch. I mean, he could have told Ananda that tumi eta kore dio, but he will do it himself. He'll make
Yeah.
sure it's done, and he'll make sure that you feel included.
Totally, absolutely.
How amazing. How amazing.
Those were that day was so unbelievable. I mean, I still wonder, that the thought of him, announcing and playing that, how mesmerizing it must have been for the people, And he said, "Abhi ek ghantar jonno bajabo," and I believe he played for a very long time. And Shapunda was on the tabla, I think. He was there.
How beautiful. Both, if you allow me, I like to see some messages. If you allow me, Chinnamma
Yes,
is watching,
please.
messaging, so
Sure.
it would be nice to see some messages. Lot of people watching, and Chinnamma is in the beginning. She said, "I'm here. I'm watching," and well, you know what Chinnamma is saying? Chinnamma is saying, "Tanusree is looking gorgeous. My love, blessings."
She loves me too much.
And yes, I have seen that bonding firsthand when we were there last 2 years back, and we spent some time at your place. It was, and a lot of people. Krishna Di is watching. Krishna Chakraborty, Guruji's disciple from Banaras, and Oliver is watching. Oliver Krask.
Yes, of course. Oliver, thank you for the book. Thank you
Oliver
so much.
is saying, "Namaskar, Tanusree. I believe your wedding was the first reunion of all 4 Shankar brothers in 27 years. George
True.
Harrison was there too, I understand."
Yes.
Then
Yes.
Shruti Chaturlal is watching. Then Guruji's disciple from Shimla, Keshav Sharma. Then my dada Anjan Mazumdar, he's watching from Delhi. Sucheta Bhattacharji, Anil Dikshit, lot of people, and they all have such wonderful things to. They're all enjoying so much. They feel that uh, they have become part of your experience, and
Oh,
they're
wow.
experiencing what you have experienced, which is so special. You know, one musician once mentioned it to me that वो बहुत बड़े संगीतकार तो थे, बहुत बड़े म्यूजिशियन थे, लेकिन उनका दिल उससे भी बड़ा था. और
Well,
that is one thing which made him so different, so unique, and that's why he is Pandit Ravi Shankar.
true.
You know, all these experiences, it confirms, you know, how many and how much quality he added to each experience, how much, you know, that Benares trip would not be as funny, hilarious, great without that cinema episode
Oh
and
dear,
without
yes.
that ice cream.
And the first thing he would say in the morning, Acha, why don't we have little jalebis with rabdi? And no, I said, we are all going to put on weight. ঠিক আছে, কিছু হবে না, কলকাতায় কি রোগা হয়ে যাবে, you know. So all that he wanted to eat, we were the excuse for him to eat all that.
And in
He
the
was
end,
fine.
we would eat our portion and we would eat his portion because he'll have a little bit, a tiny bit, and give it to us. I remember in Benares, I don't know, you must have mentioned, he would also insist on having Banarsi pan.
Oh yes, oh yes.
And as cute as he was, he would have he'll say, Chota sa banana, and he will have it in his mouth, chew once or twice, and then he'll spit it out just for the experience. You know, but he will still do it that I had the pan.
Yes.
It's just amazing, and of course that concert experience is absolutely, it is, and you can proudly say that you were maybe the first singer to sing Swagatam.
Please don't say that.
You can.
Anandu will, you know, his eyes will pop out even up there. He'll say, again?
No, ওখানে গুরুজি সামলাবে, গুরুজি বলবে না চুপ কর তুই, I know what I did. You know, I was happy with her singing. She will,
Oh my God, I'll never forget that experience ever. Another one I must, Gaurav, I have to tell you this, that
please.
this was another very, very personal experience that I had. We were in, Ananda and I were traveling to the US and we were in San Francisco. So we knew that Kaka was there. So we called him up. So he said, কোথায় আছিস তোরা? So Ananda said, we are here. So he said, listen, you come, you're going to stay with me for the next 4 days, both of you. I'm staying in one of my students' house. They've gone to India and they've asked me to stay here, and they have their people who are cooking for me and they're looking after. But I'm staying here alone. তোরা দুজন এসে আমার সঙ্গে থাক. So the two of us went there, and we were there for about 4 days. And those 4 days, Gaurav,
Ah,
again, you know, is something, it is engraved. I remember morning he would wake up because the house was on top of a beautiful hill, beautiful place. And, you know, it was one of his Gujarati students, and there was this jhula. So in the morning, I would go and sit in the jhula, or Kaka would go and sit in the jhula. We would sort of ke aage giye boshbe. So, and what all he said, music to গান বাজনা নিয়ে কথা বলবি না, একটু gossip ball, you know, and let's have some, you know, all kinds of stories, and watching television, watching Lucy Ball, laughing away. And I cannot tell you, those 4 days, you know, it was like heavenly, absolutely heavenly. It was such an experience. And I remember one of the evenings, Ashish da called. He said, "Chole aay, chole aay, chole aay, tora chole aay." So he came and we all had dinner together. You know, it was those 4 days, and then he came down to see us off. As
oh,
আপনাকে আসতে হবে না, না না না, চল আমার একটু বেরোনো হবে. So I, you know, those 4 days were so amazing, so amazing. I mean, today it's very, very, because it was just the three of us staying in that house, and just for 4 days we were there. And then he also had other programs out. So those were just the 4 days that he was free. So it just clicked. that we were there, and so that was another fabulous time I had, with him.
Every moment of his life, he lived to the fullest.
Fullest, absolutely. And I
And who?
remember when he would come to Kolkata for some concert, early in the early days, he would call up Anando and say, একটু সাউন্ডটা একটু দেখে নিবি অডিটোরিয়ামে, সো আনন্দ would go and he said, একটু তনুশ্রীকে বলিস তো আজকে যদি একটু পার্শে মাছের ঝোল একটু বানিয়ে পাঠাতে পারি, some kind of a Bengali food cooking. So I would cook that and take it for him. So I had the privilege of doing all that. So sometimes during his concert, he would say that আমার জন্য একটুখানি ফ্লাস্কে করে একটুখানি চা, হালকা চা, আর দুটো স্যান্ডউইচ একটু যদি নিয়ে আসো. So I could do. So those were they're very precious to me. Those memories are very precious to me.
Very precious, and কত উনি নিজের মনে করতেন, for him to say that কি আমার জন্য চা স্যান্ডউইচ, that there was so much of love, and he spread it around with everybody. যে ওনার কাছে এসছে, কত, আমি সেটাই ভাবি বৌদি, কত দিয়েছেন উনি লোকেদের, কত ভালোবাসা, কত গান বাজনা. He made so many people's lives richer. So many people are doing well today because of him. So many people got a sense out of their lives because of him.
Today, people who are going to perform abroad classical music are all because of him. He completely opened the door, like Baba opened the door for all the dancers and for all the Indian artists. Kaka opened the door for all the classical musicians to travel abroad. I think he was a pioneer in that, totally.
Yes.
No doubt about it. No question.
I remember, you must tell us, because I was that time staying with him in Lodi Estate, when you and Dada, Anandada, you opened your center in Delhi.
Yes, and he came to that little hole in the wall house of us for lunch and dinner. He said, I remember that.
Tell us about that, because he insisted. Na ami jabo, and I think you were trying to tell him na amra ranna kore niye aschi.
না আমি ওখানে গিয়ে খাবো. কাকা ভীষণ ছোট বাড়ি, আমি তো খাবো, he would say. So I remember he came to the house.
This was in Pomposh Enclave.
Yes, Pomposh. It was in Pomposh.
Yes, I remember because
Jampura.
I came.
No, it wasn't Pomposh. It was Jampura.
Jampura, because I remember Guruji বলেন চল যাবো দেখে আসবো, একটা সেন্টার করছে এখানে ডান্সের।
আরেকটা হয়েছিল যখন উনি প্রথম লোদি এস্টেটে এসেছিলেন, তখন আমি I was also in Delhi. We had just taken the house. So he said, তনুশ্রী একটু এসে একটু এই ঘরটাকে একটু দেখে দিই তো, সব কিছু ঠিক আছে কিনা। হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, সব ঠিক আছে কাকা, ডোন্ট ওয়ারি, আমি কি দেখে দেবো ওনাকে।
But he wanted that touch of the family. He was very, very proud of being a Shankar. He was he loved all his brothers, his mother, his father. একটা জিনিস আমি সত্যি বলি, 30 or
I haven't seen a curious person more than he was.
Tell us some
curiosity. আমার মনে আছে আমি আর চিন্নাম্মা হয়তো কিছু কথা বলছি, কিছুক্ষণ পর কি বললো রে আমার বেশি কিছু কিছু বলেনি। He was very, very curious about everything, what we talked about, why we were laughing. We had to tell him everything, so childlike.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so happy that Chinnamma has really found the energy, time. It was a major thing of Guruji, leaving all of us, but for her to pick up herself again, things together, and how beautifully she has knit the whole musical family of Guruji, which is the whole.
I would like to add something here, Gaurav, that I think Chinnamma's coming into his life.
Yes, please tell us.
It was a great thing because we got him till that age because she was with him.
Yes.
She looked after and cared for him so well, so much dedicatedly. I mean,
And
she took
she
all
brought a
she took
semblance.
all the brickbats. She took all the
Yeah,
brickbats,
yeah, yeah.
but she
She
didn't let
brought,
him.
yeah, she
Absolutely
brought semblance. She gave him
everything.
the sense of a family, which he
Totally.
always missed. And most important, it's not that she really did it on purpose or anything to spite anybody, but she just wanted to make sure that he gets a qualitative life.
Absolutely. And that his health was taken care of, not anything else.
Exactly.
That he should be well. He whatever was good for him, she was trying
Yes.
to do.
Because
And
he
that
would
is
worry
what.
about everything. He would আমি আমি সত্যি বলি আমি অনেকবার দেখেছি চিনেমা রান্না করেছে বা the Lodi estate cooks have cooked or in London wherever, and cinema is managing everything beautifully, but still he will go in the kitchen to make sure that all the servants have eaten. এই তোরা খেয়েছিস তো মাছ ছিল বেঁচে ছিল বা মাছ যেটা সিনেমা বলছে সামটাইমস আই ফিল আমার এত খারাপ লাগে যে ওরা বোধহয় ভাববে সিনেমা দেখাশোনা করছে না গুরুজি বলছে বলে করছে তো
That's his
সিনেমা
habit.
বলছে হ্যাঁ সিনেমা বললো আমি করছি তো ওরা ওরা সব খেয়েছে না ভাত কম পড়েনি তো আচ্ছা তোরা খেয়ে এখন যা এখন একটু রেস্ট কর আবার আবার 5টার সময় আমাকে চা দিয়ে দিবি he would always do that, and he would worry about people, he would worry about somebody, if somebody is coming to Delhi কোথায় থাকবি, how are you eating, আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে লাঞ্চ এখানে চলে আসিস. That was his nature. He wanted to help, he wanted to, and ঠিক আছে all your life it's okay to do, but then at some point you need to take a back seat.
Yeah, you do.
And
I
Chinama wanted
remember
to,
also a wonderful time we had in their San Diego house. Chinnama was
oh
there. Chinnama
yes,
with no way. What
that's
a
a
beautiful
paradise, that
time we
place is
had. We
paradise.
were there just for a 2 days or something we were visiting. What a beautiful time we had with him and Chinnama.
And
Lovely
it is
time.
so wonderful to see. I mean, can you believe today Anushka is playing at the proms? She's playing
I
at BBC
know, I know. I'm going to hear. I
proms. We
must.
have to watch it later. It's at I think 12:30 uh,
Yeah.
at the Albert Hall. She's
Yes.
doing well. Mishti is doing so well, and everybody. I mean, this is just a blessed family, Shankar family. This is আমার বাবা সবসময় বলতেন কি there is a blessing. ওই বাড়িতে যেই জন্ম নেয়, they are all so artistic, so creative. They are all. It's such a blessing to know the Shankar family, and what a pleasure to have you. You come and speak to all of us.
It's been I don't know what should I say. You took me back so many years, and I cherish these moments. I cherish the
Moments are
moments.
beautiful because this is going to be documented. This is going to be there forever, and people are going to see it whenever they want to know more about this great man or the Shankar family. They can watch this video, watch this footage on YouTube, and watch it. I'm so happy, and one day, Nabarun is doing such great work with the Pandit
Yes.
Ravi Shankar Music Foundation. We hope to do something with you with Guruji's music, this 12-minute piece you have, and
It'll
so
be
much of other music.
my honor. I'd love to use some of other music of Kaka's also, and I'll take Chinnama's permission, and we would like to do it. So I do have a few of one or two, but
Yes.
I have not performed it without her permission. So it's not fair. But I'm going to take her permission, and we will now put it up. But I don't know when I'll put it up with this kind of a situation going on. But I'm a positive thinker, and I think there will be a day when we will be able to all go back to the auditorium and you know work and present our work.
Namaskar, Bodhi.
নমস্কার, থ্যাংক
It
ইউ।
was
খুব
nice.
সুন্দর প্রোগ্রাম, ভীষণ আমি এত খুশি হয়েছি, মানে আমি আমার যতটুকু আমার যা অভিজ্ঞতা, I could say my experience and I'm really happy I could do that.
Right. আমার খুব ভাল লাগলো. It was, we really cherished to hear about your memories with Mama, and also to the whole episode. Maima was watching you, but she requested one thing which Gaurav forgot, that she asked you to sing 2 lines of that song, Swagatam.
Thank God, thank God, oh God, thank God. I'll never do that again. No way, no way.
It's
All
a
of you.
request from Maima, so you have to sing that song 2 lines for the viewers.
পারবো না কেন, শুধু শুধু
চেষ্টা
the
করো।
whole this thing will go absolutely
कोई
fall
बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं.
off.
No. बहुत अच्छा है. Swagatam means something. When we are Swagatam 2020 of Pandit ji, 100 years. It is also part of Swagatam.
I,
You should.
I can't even dare do that again. I was very young, so I had that kind of a courage to do it. I didn't understand. But now I'm too old and I'm too much of clarity in my mind, and I can't do that.
Bodhi, you have to sing because
Gaurav
Maima has asked that you should sing 2 lines. Of course, you narrate
why
that
are you
2 lines.
doing this to
Don't sing, you
me?
narrate that 2 lines. Bodhi, what do you
Okay,
think?
I have to. If you by the time you're picking up your courage, you're preparing yourself. Can I read some messages? So
Dada,
we have-
Dada, hello, Gaurav.
Chinnamma, এক minute. Chinnamma is saying, yes, sing.
You have the permission.
One more thing. She's saying, you are a beautiful addition to the Shankar family.
Yeah, it's true.
And,
It is.
and she's giving you permission. And there is just one more incident which you will cherish. Anjunda is saying, please remind Bodhi of her and Anandada's visit to Allahabad, and particularly Patrick's visit.
Yes. That I remember, but not with much clarity. But I knew about this. Yes.
So you need a tanpura or a sitar backing. What?
Please, I would rather dance it off than just sing. My God, as it is, the voice is gone now, because taking a class and shouting, whatever the voice was there, it's all gone completely. That one instead of
Okay.
one, two.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? I pretend I am Ashit Desai. And
why are you killing me after this?
No, I'm not killing you.
No.
Let's because we cannot. The request has come from somebody which we cannot just ignore.
Only one line. I can
only one
line.
Swagatam, Shubh Swagatam.
Swagatam, Shubh Swagatam. That's
Ananda Mangalam. Very good. That was absolutely in tune. So, see, Guruji knew that. Otherwise, he would call you in the room and say, okay, I'm singing it. Can you just dance on it? Just let's see. But he said, no, sing. So, he couldn't have been that.
Oh dear. That was
Thank you.
frightening. Now, when I look at it, it's a frightening thing for me. But thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you. And what a experience.
Sincere pranam and thanks to Chinnamma, to Nabarun, and to you, Gaurav, for doing this wonderful program for Kaka's centenary.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. We are learning so much. Most important, we are really so happy doing this. Thank you for coming.
Bodhi. Good night. Take care. Take
Good
care,
night.
Bodhi.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
And to the viewers of Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation, uh, we will be not live tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, we will be there once again at 6:30 p.m. onwards. So be tuned. Day after tomorrow, that is Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Till then, good night to the viewers and be safe. Good night. Namaskar.
Thank you.